हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम अमोल प्रभु। हरे कृष्णा
प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
देव हेमांगी माता जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा। We'll begin now. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Today we will be only discussing just one anga of devotional service, which is smaranam or meditation. To meditate means to engage the mind in thinking of the form of the Lord, the qualities of the Lord, and the activities of the Lord, and the service of the Lord. So we can meditate. Today we will see how powerful is this anga of devotional service. And this verse describes one can meditate on the form, on the qualities, on the pastimes, on the service. This service is not like okay. We will see. Let's continue. How to meditate on the service of the Lord also we will see. Meditation, focusing on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has been accepted as transcendental and beyond the experience of material pain and pleasure. By such meditation, even one who is grossly miscreant can be delivered from the sinful reactions of his life. So this is from Narsimha Puran, which describes meditating on the feet of the Lord is very powerful. Even if we have committed one of the biggest sinful activities, by meditating on the feet of the Lord, one can immediately become purified. There are like many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam which describes the glories of meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami explains, if we meditate on the feet of the Lord's form, qualities, pastimes, everything will naturally come to us by meditating on the feet. Srila Prabhupada would often say that while chanting, he massages the feet of Krishna. And in Nectar of Instruction, yesterday evening we were discussing, in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada says, like we see the first verse of Nectar of Instruction is Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaya Prastha Vegam. One should try to tolerate the urge of speech, of mind, of anger, of tongue, which is taste, of belly and genitals. There in the purport, Prabhupada says how to control the mind is by meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna. But at the same time, yesterday we were discussing on this subject matter of meditation on the lotus feet of Krishna. So in third canto, fifth chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a prayers by demigods to Narayan, where demigods pray, although this is the highest form of meditation, the feet of the Lord, but it is very difficult for those who are very much absorbed in the conception of I and mine, or who are very much attached to this material world. It will be increasingly difficult for them to meditate on the feet of the Lord. Yet, this is a kind of meditation that is recommended to try anyways, and it will be helpful. And then moving forward, persons, this is from Vishnu Dharma, persons who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness and who remember the transcendental qualities of the Lord become free from all reactions to sinful activities. And after being so cleansed, they become fit to enter into kingdom of God. So this particular verse describes meditation on the quality of the Lord. So just for example, we hear one quality where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was going to South Indian tour, he stayed 4 months in Sri Rangam, and Mahaprabhu was going, like he was just taking a walk around the temple, and he saw in a garden there was one Brahmana who was reciting Bhagavad Gita, and there were many Brahmanas sitting nearby him, and they were laughing at him because of his improper recitation, and he had tears in his eyes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Brahmana and he asked him, "Oh Brahmana, what are you doing? What are you reciting? And why is everybody laughing?" So Brahmana said, "Well, my Guru Maharaj gave me the instruction to read Bhagavad Gita. I don't know how to read Bhagavad Gita, but I'm trying to follow the order of my Guru Maharaj. And because my recitation is improper, they're all laughing at me." Then Lord Chaitanya said, "Oh, okay. Then, my dear Brahmana, why do you have tears in your eyes?" Then the Brahmana replied, "Because when I am reciting, although improperly, I am amazed that how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has become the chariot driver of his own devotee, has become the servant of his own devotee. Seeing this quality of Krishna, I am crying." And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very pleased. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Brahmana that you have actually understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So you are the Acharya for Bhagavad Gita. And recently, I was also reading with one devotee. We were reading this one chapter of first canto Bhagavatam. Krishna returns to Dwarka, and that describes like he left Hastinapur. There is beautiful prayers by Queen Kunti. Then all the Pandavas they wanted Lord Krishna to stay for some more time with them, and Lord did agree. He stayed. He also took the Pandavas to Bhishma Dev, where Bhishma Dev removed the uh, doubts of Yudhishthir Maharaj. After that, Lord Krishna finally decided to go back to Dwarka. He received a very beautiful farewell. Everybody was glorifying the Lord. Everybody was crying. And then the Lord went through the forest path from Hastinapur, which is Delhi, and entered Dwarka. So many people of all, like Brahmanas, singers, like musicians, even prostitutes, and various different kinds of people, they all came and they were glorifying the Lord in their own ways. And then the Lord stepped down the chariot, he entered into the palace. He was greeted by his own mothers, headed by um, Devaki, and there was Rohini and others. So Lord Krishna, what it described, what was very amazing to me is Lord Krishna bent down and he put his head at the feet of the mothers, one by one, all the mothers. And I was thinking that this is so nice, this is so amazing, that even when we meet seniors, elders, parents, at max what we do is we touch our hand, we use our hand to touch their feet. And then I was just meditating on this, that Krishna bent down and he put his head on the feet of Devaki and other mothers. And I was thinking, wow, it is like such a nice gesture of humbleness. Such like, it was very inspiring to me when I heard that. So this particular verse says one can meditate on, like Lord Krishna has so many qualities. It is described here 64 qualities. First, we saw we can meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. Then here we are seeing we can meditate on any qualities of Krishna. Okay. A person who is always engaged in meditation on the sweet pastimes and wonderful activities of the Lord surely becomes freed from all material contamination. This is from Padma Puran, which says the meditation on the pastimes of the Lord or activities of the Lord, all the contaminations goes away. Like one Srimad Bhagavatam describes, anybody who hears the dealings of Krishna with the gopis, the lust go away from their heart. And likewise, any pastime of Krishna we meditate, the contaminations will go away. And one way to meditate on the pastimes of Krishna is just by hearing them. And just to facilitate devotees hearing the pastimes of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, after finishing first canto, he released Krishna book. And Prabhupada told his devotees, in the night, you all drink hot milk and read Krishna book, because he wants devotees to be absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. So we saw Krishna's feet, Krishna's qualities, and Krishna's pastimes. They all have the similar effect of whether contamination goes away or sinful reactions goes away, one becomes purified. Then this is Srila Rupa Goswami describes a particular story of a Brahmana. This Brahmana was from a village called Prasthanpur. He was a very, very nice story. He was a very poor Brahmana, but he was very peaceful, very devoted to Narayana. But he did not, because he was very poor, he cannot afford like either deities or deity worship, or like any external worship. So, but he was very satisfied. He would love to associate with devotees. So in one instance, there was a lecture going on, and this Brahmana from Prasthanpur, he went, he heard the lecture, and the lecture says that the Lord is pleased with anything one offers to the Lord, patram pushpam phalam toyam. It doesn't matter whether one is poor or one is rich. If one has a desire to render service to a lord in a particular way and one cannot afford, then one can always render those items in their mind, and that is called manasa seva, mental worship of the Lord. And then the lecture the devotee was saying that actually offering articles in the mind is more um, beneficial than the actual offering of the articles, and this is called manasa seva, or worshipping in the mind. Also, it is said like some of the devotees here, they have deities. I know 2 3 families who have deities in their homes. It is said the deity worship is not complete unless we worship the deities mentally. So before we actually physically bathe the Lord, physically offer food to the Lord, or offer tulasi to the Lord, offer garland to the Lord, before we do that, we mentally offer all the worship. And to properly worship the deities, there are 16 articles that are to be offered. This is like detailed section of how to perform deity worship. But first we offer mentally, then we offer physically. And they said unless mentally offered, it is not complete. So Manasa Seva is very um, beneficial. And this particular example, he heard, he was inspired. He went, he sat on the bank of Godavari River. He took his path, came out, sat down, and then he arranged a deity. Everything is going in the mind now. He have a deity of Lakshmi Narayan in front of him. This story is from, I think, Padma Puran. He has a deities of Lakshmi Narayan in front of him. He removed their clothes. He bathed them with water, milk, yogurt, honey, various articles. Then he wiped their bodies. He put sandalwood on their bodies. He put clothes on them, put jewelry on them, put garland on them. Then he with rubbing the chandan sandalwood, he plucked the tulsi leaf from the tulsi plant. He put it on the feet of the Lord. He arranged a nice mukut for the Lord. So in that way, he combed the hair of the Lord. So in this way, he was offering various articles of worship. And then he started cooking for the Lord, and he offered the food to the Lord. Then he would remove the bhoga that is offered to the Lord. He would transfer it. He would wash the plates, the paraphernalia, everything. After the whole worship is done, he would clean the paraphernalia, offer various other like argya or flowers or dhoop or deep, water and various other articles, and nicely worship. And this he would do every day. And he was doing this, it is said years passed by, and every day for hours he would sit down and he would worship the Lord in the mind. Then one day what happens, he bathed him, dressed him, offered him various ornaments, earring, necklace of Kaustuba jewel, 2 3 more necklaces, flower garland, tulasi leaves, flowers at the feet of the Lord, bangles, and like rings, toe rings, finger rings, bindi, like various. He was just carefully meditating on offering all the articles of the Lord. Then he did the arati to the Lord, Dhoop, Deep, Pushpa, Argya, all the chamara, offering chamara to the Lord, peacock fan to the Lord. Then he wanted to cook sweet rice for Narayan, and he started cooking sweet rice. And sweet rice, like he put milk, now he put rice, and he was like studying constantly. Almost 1 hour passed in studying only and meditating how the Lord would enjoy the sweet rice. Added some camphor, added some cardamom. Then it started to boil. Then he kept the pot aside, and he was waiting because he knew that sweet rice tastes better when it is cold than when it is hot. So he was letting it cool down. Some time passed by, and he thought maybe it is cold now. He wanted to make sure. So he used his finger, this finger, and he touched the sweet rice to see if it is not and if it is offerable, but lot of heat was still contained in the pot. As soon as he touched the sweet rice, his hand got burnt, and immediately he broke out of meditation, and he just and then he actually looked at his finger, and when he this is the Brahmana sitting on the bank of Godavari, when he looked at his finger, it was actually burned. And he was very much surprised. He was like, oh, I offered it in the mind, how my finger became black. And as he was like surprised what happened in Vaikuntha Lok, immediately Lord Narayan, he started laughing. And Lakshmi Devi, like very humorously, Lakshmi Devi was sitting at the feet of the Lord. Lakshmi Devi asked Narayan, oh Prananath, why are you laughing all of a sudden? Then the Lord said, I will let you know. First, let me send somebody. So Lord Narayan sent a Viman with one of the associate to bring the Brahmana to Vaikuntha Lok. So here you see on the top there is a Viman on the top left corner, and there are Vishnu Duta sitting. They came, they took the Brahmana, put on the Viman, and took him to Vaikuntha Lok. And then Narayan explained to Lakshmi Devi what happened, why he was laughing, and Lakshmi Devi also became very pleased. And that's how the Lord mercifully gave this Brahmana the entrance into Vaikuntha Loka. So Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada summarizes this story. Rupa Goswami describes in this 10th chapter, Nectar of Devotion, how just alone by meditation he attained perfection. But in generally speaking, we can meditate on the Lord, on any service of the Lord, especially deity worship. We meditate on the Lord. Um, we can do it by itself, or we can do it while accompanied by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Jiva Goswami says, in this age of Kali, all the other limbs of devotional service should be accompanied by the holy name. So generally, any meditation, if at all possible, and also you will experience that the pastime actually reveals more and more, actually becomes more and more deeper by the spiritual potency of the holy name itself. When we meditate with the holy name, um, we can absorb ourselves more in the meditation. But in Kali Yuga, like Prabhupada always says, meditation is not the process for this age. So, but the power of meditation is there. And if we, after 16 rounds, if we have some time, it is very nice to remember. Some devotees say one way of meditation, if we are not sure how to meditate, is meditate on what we heard today. Or maybe like sometime self-reflection on our qualities, or self-reflection on uh, anything that I'm doing wrong. Those are also helpful in meditation. But specially emphasized is meditating on the feet of the Lord, meditating on the qualities of the Lord. Pick a quality, meditate on any pastimes that we have heard. Then there is another story of Narsinghananda Brahmachari. This is a little bit long story, so see if we all can focus and absorb ourselves. So there was a brahmachari. His name was Pradyumna Brahmachari. He was a great devotee of Lord Nrsingadev, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometime call him Narsinghananda Brahmachari also. So there are two stories connected to this particular pastime. I would like to share both of them. All right. So the first story is, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas. Then Nityananda Prabhu tricked Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu went to Shantipur back, where he met with all the devotees. If we don't understand the background, that's all right. When we come to the story, it will be clear. Then Mahaprabhu went to Puri. From there, he went on a 2-year South Indian tour. He came back. Then he made an attempt to go to Vrindavan, but he was trying to visit Vrindavan through Bengal, so that he can meet his mother and other devotees. So Lord Chaitanya he went to Shantipur, he met Advaita Acharya, he met his mother Sachi Mata, He met various other devotees. On Kumara Hatta, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Srivas Thakur. And in Vidyanagar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Vidyavachaspati. So Mahaprabhu was going to different homes and meeting different devotees. And from there, Mahaprabhu left those places and then he went to Ramakeli. And in Ramakeli, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Rup and Sanatana Goswami. I think in the past we discussed. And at that point of time, Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he knew that Lord is walking, and Narasimhananda Brahmachari was a very powerful devotee, and his meditations were very deep. So Narasimhananda Brahmachari wanted to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was in Bengal only. He sat down and he started in order to serve. Like it is said that there is no limit by which we can serve the Lord. He sat down and he started preparing the road for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So first he put very soft mud on the road. Then on the side he planted trees, and on the trees, and beneath the two sides of the trees he made gardens on one side and lakes of water on another side with sweet water. And these lakes are like the platform of the lakes are made of jewels. And this dust, that soft dust on which Mahaprabhu was walking, was made of diamonds. It's a diamond dust. It's very soft, very glittery, and he had a lot of flowers on the sides. So in this way, he was meditating that he was preparing a road, a beautiful scene, and Mahaprabhu took a step. And then as he saw in his meditation everything, Mahaprabhu took few steps. Then simultaneously he was taking the diamonds, grinding it, putting it all over, then planting some trees, some flowers. Then he's meditating. Here is champaka, yellow color flower. Here is lily, white color. Here is lotus, blue and pink and orange and red colors. In this way, and here is this gendha. Here is malati. Here is some tulasi plant. Here is the lake. Here is more garden. In this way, and then he would in his mind think of Mahaprabhu taking some more steps. And then in a way, Mahaprabhu was in his mind, Mahaprabhu was walking and he was preparing the road. And he can sit for hours and days and meditate on serving the Lord through Manasi Seva. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking and he was preparing the road. And as he went to a place called Kanai Natashala. This is another place in Bengal. And when he reached Kanai Natashala, he went 5 miles further. And then suddenly his meditation broke. And then he tried his best to prepare the road, prepare the trees, prepare the lakes, prepare the garden, prepare the flowers and beautiful road. But every time he's trying to make this time, his meditation was getting disturbed immediately and he could not focus. He could not do it. So then he told, devotees were there surrounding him. And Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he told the devotees that Lord Chaitanya will not go beyond Kanai Natashala. I cannot meditate beyond. So this is the Lord's plan. And this is exactly what happened. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went from Ramkeli. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Ramkeli, Sanatana Goswami told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my Lord, Vrindavan is not a place where you go with many disciples, with lakhs of people. Vrindavan is a place to go alone for absorption. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all right, Sanatan. And then Mahaprabhu left for Vrindavan. And then he went few miles. Then he reached Kanai Natashala. And at Kanai Natashala, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to consider that actually Sanatan was right. I cannot go to Vrindavan with so many hundreds of thousands of devotees. I should go alone. So it will be wise to take his advice and go back to Bengal and go back to Puri. And Mahaprabhu came back. But Narasimhananda Brahmachari knew before only. So this is like one example of how powerful and how the meditation mentally service is directly received by the Lord. And there is a direct connection when we mentally serve the Lord. and when we are physically serving the Lord. And it is said that mental service is even more powerful than physically serving the Lord. And there is another story of same Nashimananda Brahmachari. So this is after a few years. Mahaprabhu then later on, he came back to Puri, then he went to Vrindavan, then he came back to Puri, and he was staying in Puri for 18 years then, after returning from Puri. 6 years he traveled after sannyas, and 18 years he stayed in Puri. Then every year, these devotees headed by Shivananda Singh and others, Advaita Charya, Shivas Thakur, and all the other devotees, for 4 months of Chaturmas, they, because of their separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would come every year from Bengal to Puri. But this time, Shivananda Sen has a brother whose name was Shrikanta Sen. So Shrikanta Sen, this story comes in Ante Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He came earlier, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Shrikanta Sen that this year I am planning to visit Bengal, so tell devotees not to come for Chaturmas. So Shrikanta Sen went back and he told all the devotees, great news, the Lord is coming here. He is coming to Bengal. No need to go there. So they all were waiting, because like as time would pass by and they don't see the Lord, their anxiety, their suffering because of separation would increase. And Chaturmas begin. Chaturmas is like right now, it's the second month of Chaturmas. So like July, August, September, October, around like the rainy season. Rainy season begins in July. So it goes from, and the last month of Chaturmas is the Mass of Kartik. So these are the rainy season. That's why devotees don't devotees would come before Chaturmas and they would stay for the entire 4 months, and then they would return. So now they are waiting. July passed. Mahaprabhu did not come. Shivananda Singh and Jagadananda Pandit were there. Shivas Thakur were there, and many devotees were there. They were feeling morose and sad. The Lord is not coming. We want to receive the darshan of the Lord. August, September, October, the Chaturmas was about to come to an end, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come. And they all were very sad and morose, thinking that Lord is not going to come this year. Somehow or other, he got stuck. Some inconceivable reasons. So as they were all very sad, Nashimananda Brahmachari was walking by, and he saw, especially Shivananda Sen, Jagadananda Pandit, they both were sitting and morose. Nashimananda Brahmachari asked them, why are you so sad? And they said, we are waiting for Lord Chaitanya and he's not coming. We don't think we will be able to see him this year. We have to wait for 8 more months before we can go to Puri and see him. Then Nashimananda Brahmachari said, don't worry, I will bring him here within 3 days. So Shivananda Sen, he is very qualified devotee and he knows the power of Nashimananda. And Nashimananda devotion is very high. So Shivananda Sen said, all right, he accepted. Then Nashimananda Brahmachari, he sat in meditation. And he started preparing the road for Lord Chaitanya from Puri all the way to Bengal. 2 days passed. And Nashimananda Brahmachari, he opened his eyes. He told Shivananda Sen and Jagadananda Pandit, the Lord has reached Panihati. He is on his way. By tomorrow afternoon, the Lord will be in your house, basically in the house of Shivananda Sen. That's where he was doing meditation. Then whole night he sat down and he was preparing the road and bringing Mahaprabhu step by step by step. Morning came. It was like 9 or 10 a.m. Few hours, or maybe 7 or 8 a.m. Few hours. Nashimananda Brahmachari opened his eyes. He told Shivananda Sen, few hours away, immediately tell your servants, arrange for a big feast. The Lord is coming. Shivananda Sen was a little bit skeptical. He was like, okay. And there is just a black box for at this point of time for Shivananda Sen, Jagadananda Pandit, but they have full faith in the Shivananda Brahmachari, but there is some skepticism also. So Shivananda Sen, being very humble, he prepared a huge feast. Then Nashimananda Brahmachari said, all right, now divide the huge feast in 3 plates. One plate for Jagannath, one plate for Lord Chaitanya, one plate for my Ishtadev, Lord Nrsingadev, and put it in the room. The Lord will be here very soon, within like very soon. And Nashimananda Brahmachari, he was meditating. He brought the Lord mentally through entrance at the door of Shivananda Sain, walking to the inner chamber through the various dark rooms, opened the door, which is the altar. He went inside. 3 plates were arranged, one in front of Jagannath, one in front of Lord Nrsingadev, and there was one asan for Lord Chaitanya to sit, and there was a huge feast in front of him. So he made the Lord sit there, and then he made the Lord eat all the food. And then in his meditation, now the Lord was guiding the meditation. In his meditation, he saw that Lord, after finishing his plate, he took the plate of Jagannath. And Nrsingatha Brahmachari was not very happy with it because he didn't want Jagannath to fast. And then he took all the prasadam of Lord Jagannath. And then he took the empty plate in front of Jagannath. And then he took the plate of Nrsingadev and he kept it in front of him and he ate all the prasadam of Nrsingadev. And then he kept the empty plate in front of Nrsingadev. And Nrsingatha Brahmachari, when he saw all this, he became very disturbed. And in the mind, he was thinking that taking the plate of Jagannath is okay because you and Jagannath are not different. But then why take the plate of Nrsingadev? And then he thought maybe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach me that the Lord and Nrsingadev are also not different. And that's why he took the plate of Nrsingadev also. But externally, he was displeased. So he told Shivananda Sain that the Lord has eaten all the 3 plates. Now immediately make more prasadam because Nrsingadev is hungry. And Shivananda Sain was still skeptic, and but he just had faith in Nrsimhananda Brahmachari. So he told the servant, prepare a huge feast again. And then he fed to Jagannath and he fed to Nrsingadev. And Nrsimhananda Brahmachari was happy. Then when they went inside the room, all the 3 plates were empty. Nobody was there. And Shivananda Sain was thinking, what happened? Did the Lord really come? And now the Chaturmas is over. So just empty plates. Nrsingatha Brahmachari, 3 days of meditation, the Lord is not there, visible to anyone, and just the plates are empty. So Shivananda Sain thought, we don't know if Lord actually came or not. So the next year, after 8 months, Shivananda Sain, Jagananda Pandit, Srivas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, and all the other associates, around 200 Bengali Vaishnavas, 200 to 400 Bengali Vaishnavas, they went to Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was talking to them. And Lord Chaitanya and devotees told Lord Chaitanya that, my dear Lord, last year we were looking forward for you. You said you will come in Chaturma, that's why we didn't come, and we had so much separation from you. And the Lord said, I came to the house of Shivananda Sain, and I ate the prasadam, all the 3. And this is the beautiful quality of Nrsingatha Brahmachari, who called me and who forced me to eat. And at that point of time, Shivananda Sain, he removed any skepticism that was there in his mind on the power of the meditation of Nrsingatha Brahmachari. And he was very pleased. So this we saw the story of Nrsingatha Brahmachari, 2 stories. We saw the story of the Brahmana from Prashthanpur, how he offered the sweet rice, his hand got burned, and Narayan brought him to Vaikuntha. Now this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of God Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. Arjuna's constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna rapidly increased his devotion, and as a result, all the trash in his thoughts subsided. There is another beautiful effect of meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. The trash in the mind will be gone. Many times the mind is filled with unwanted things, or maybe the effect of Kali, one may think of maybe mentally find some fault in devotees also, or it can be a thought of sense gratification, like a disturbing thought of sense gratification. So Arjuna, or maybe some kind of lamentation, maybe some kind of depression. So these are all thoughts that mind always captures. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is a proof where Arjuna, when he was coming back, he was lamenting heavily. He was lamenting because he was given the responsibility to bring the queens after Lord Krishna's departure from Dwarka to Hastinapur. But on the way back, he was attacked by a Gwala who, just with the stick in his hand, defeated Arjuna, stole the queens, and ran away with the queens, and Arjuna could not do anything. And when he was coming, he was lamenting. Actually, that Brahmana, our Goswamis explains, was Krishna who came to take the queens with him. But in order to reciprocate with some loving relationship or teach some lesson to Arjuna, he put Arjuna in that trouble. And Arjuna was praying, "My Lord, I have the same chariot given by Agni Dev. I have the quiver. I have the astra of Lord Shiva. I am the same Athirathi Maharathi who fought so many battles and who was the main cause of winning the Mahabharat war. I am the same. But then Arjuna realized, but I am uh, powerless without the mercy of Lord Krishna, because actually Krishna was the doer. I was just thinking about myself that I am great, but actually Krishna used me as an instrument. And when Krishna wanted to use me as an instrument, Krishna empowered me at that point of time to do his will. It was not me, it was Krishna. At some point of time in the past, Arjuna was thinking it was he who was a great fighter and who was the best archer on the planet. Various thoughts. But when there is, when we think good about ourselves, and when we are not able to perform, or like, yeah, not able to perform the way we want to perform because we think good about ourselves, we go into depression. Like, why this is not happening? But then we are not able to see, when I did perform good, I was only an instrument in the hand of Krishna. Krishna gave it to me at that point of time, and now Krishna took it away. Everything Krishna only. So as Arjuna came back, he was lamenting, and then he started remembering the instructions of Krishna. He started remembering Bhagavad Gita, and um, Krishna told Arjuna, "Man manam bhavan bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru." Always remember me. Always think about me. Fill your mind with thoughts of me. And by depending on me, you will be able to cross over all the obstructions. And as this essence of instruction came in the mind of Arjuna, he just closed his eyes and he started remembering the feet of Krishna. And as he was remembering the feet of Krishna, his mind became peaceful. And Srimad Bhagavatam says all the trash in his mind went away. Same thing is true with Hare Krishna Mahamantra also. Because the thing is, our consciousness becomes very easily affected by the circumstances in this world, very easily becomes disturbed. But this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, remembering the feet of the Lord or any aspect of the Lord, immediately frees us from that bewilderment, or the mind becomes like bewildered, crazy. It goes into illusion, it goes in a mental plane, everything just becomes vague. We cannot see things as they are, and we go into a mental loop, and it becomes like we just incriminate ourselves more and more and more. By thinking more, there is more mental speculation, there is more wrong conclusion, wrong decision, and we just go into a loop and it's never ending. And that's why, by remembering the Lord, like there is one instance where Dhruv Maharaj, he was very angry with the yakshas because one of the yaksha killed the brother of Dhruva, whose name was Uttam. And Dhruv Maharaj, he was very angry. He wanted to kill all the yakshas. So he openly declared for a fight. He was fighting with them, and the yakshas, they created illusion. So on one side, some snakes were coming. On another side, elephants or lions. On another side, some like ocean or fire. So in this way, all the elements were coming from all four sides. And Dhruv Maharaj, when he looked up all these elements, he became bewildered. He's like, what is this? How do I deal with this situation? How can I fight this? But they were all actually illusion that yakshas created because they are subtle beings. At that time, the demigods spoke that, my dear Dhruva, remember the name of Krishna, remember the feet of Krishna, remember Krishna. And Dhruva Maharaj immediately remembered the Lord. And as he remembered the Lord, all this illusion went away. Okay, this is another example from Bhagavatam. Then Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastham gatopi va yatsmaret pundari kaksham sabhaya bhayantara suchihi. Whether pure or impure or having passed through all conditions of material life, one who remembers lotus-eyed Krishna becomes externally and internally pure. So this verse says Om apavitro. This is again a verse on meditation. Apavitro, pavitra means pure. Apavitro, pavitro, whether impure or pure. Om apavitro, pavitro va sarva vastam gatopiva, or whatever you are going through in life, having passed through all conditions of material life, whatever your mental state is. Yah smaret pundari kaksham. Pundari kaksham is Pundari kaksha is lotus-eyed, which is referring to Krishna, lotus-eyed Krishna. Smaret, remember. Whichever state you are in, if you remember the lotus-eyed Krishna, sa bhaya abhayantaraha suchihi. Antara means inside, bhaya is outside. Externally, internally, suchi means clean. Muchi means unclean, suchi means clean. In other words, if one remembers Krishna, whether one is pure, impure, or whichever situation is, one will become internally and externally clean just by remembering Krishna. There is another verse in Bhagavatam which says, by remembering the feet of the Lord, one can cut the hard knot of karma that one is bound by just by remembering the Lord. So there are, Rupa Goswami gives various stories and various verses from various scriptures, including Bhagavatam, Nasimha Puran, Padma Puran, Dharma Shastra, on importance of remembering the Lord. Okay. Okay. So that's all we have for today. Now, we will see if there is any discussion on this point. Pravina Mataji, Dandat Pranams.
Prabhuji, I did not get the last line for the Om Apavitro Pavitro Va Sarva Vastam Gato Piva. Yes, yet smare Pundari Kaksham. After that, Prabhuji.
Sa Bhaya Abhayantaraha Suchihi. So Antara
Sa Bhaya Abhayantara
Suchihi, whether internally, externally purified.
Okay.
Okay. So if there are no questions, I think it's good to end the discussion here. I don't want to start a new chapter when there are 10 minutes remaining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Sukumari Radha Devi, Dandavat Pranam.
One quick question, Prabhuji. To remember Lord Prabhuji, like sometimes like we do remember the form of the Lord from our temple or sometimes from picture. So there are so many different varieties of forms, right, Prabhuji? Like,
Yes.
so like, is it recommended to remember only one form, or like maybe whatever forms, like from pictures or from deities from temple or from any dhams? So what
Anything is okay.
what is recommended, Prabhuji?
Anything is
Or
okay.
it's a mixture of like combination of different forms, right? Different forms in the sense like maybe varieties of forms.
Anything is okay. Whatever attracts your heart. Dham is not different from the body of Krishna. So when you remember any place in Dham, it's also remembering Krishna. Or any painting, anything you remember. Um, Baba Gai Janardana, he will accept it.
Sometimes like some paintings, like maybe like from outside of the devotees, not sure, Prabhuji, like maybe we buy it some different places. So sometimes like we do get remember the other pictures, like we are not sure, like sometimes I feel that, Prabhuji, like I'm not sure like that is right picture or
That
not.
is perfectly right. You can even take a stone and just make any form of Krishna on the ground, and that becomes your deity, and you can remember that Krishna will accept your service through that. It is described, I mean, if you read, there is a pastime at Cheer Ghat in Srimad Bhagavatam where these girls, they were very attracted to Krishna because they were great sages in the past life, and they had intense love like great sages. So they took birth in Vrindavan. They wanted to have Krishna as their husband. So they made a form on the bank of Yamuna on the mud, and they would worship that form and remember that form, and Krishna accepted their offerings, reciprocated through just that worship on the ground. Your daughter makes a picture, anything which you think as Krishna and you worship him as Krishna, Krishna can accept. This is what is called spiritualization of matter, is when with all that important is love and devotion. When with love and devotion you remember or you offer anything to any form of Krishna, Krishna will accept it. Krishna is everywhere. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So one last dummy question, Prabhuji.
Mhm.
Like, so whatever, like, so when we are small, like whatever we see in pictures, movies that like they acted, sometimes some people remember that form. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Is that okay or not? Well, Krishna will accept our service. I'm little hesitant in that direction, because the thing is, you develop faith and then you see these people who are acting, they are wearing some kind of fancy show and they are going here and there, you see, and then you will be shaken up because they are actors. So sometimes they make the role of a villain later on. So in it will be little difficult to relate at some point of time if you make your conception around that.
Mm.
Did I answer question?
yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Krishna
All
Prabhuji.
right. So, dear Prabhuji's Mataji's, thank you all for joining. We end here. If I spoke anything,
Are you able to hear me, Prabhuji?
yeah, Shweta Mata, I'm able to hear you. Go ahead, Mataji.
Arjuna, after Krishna had left the material planet, like he came in the form of Brahmana. You were mentioning that, right? Like when Arjuna was supposed to take the queens to back to Hastinapur, he was like defeated by the Brahmana who came as Krishna. So, did Arjuna have a pride in the heart from the victory of the Kurukshetra war? Is it because of that Krishna wanted to teach Arjuna, or why was that?
Yeah,
Prabhuji?
thank you. Well, how we see with Arjuna, we see him as a pure devotee of the Lord, and we see that Krishna used Arjuna as an instrument to teach common people like us. Whether it is Bhagavad Gita spoken to Arjuna, whether it is this pastime.
Okay, so it is for us.
It is for us. Krishna used him as an instrument. Krishna covered him with his own Yoga Maya potency to think in that way. And he became bewildered by Yoga Maya potency of Krishna. It was Krishna's plan for his devotee just to teach us.
So in that case, like on a day-to-day basis, when performing our duties, so what is the correct state of mind we have to have, Prabhuji, in order to be to not be bewildered by the situation or the environment and thinking myself as the doer? How can we prevent that?
Well, by depending on Krishna before we do the duty. Before we do any duty, when we think I am very good in doing this duty, that's when we'll make mistake in those duty. That is also Krishna's mercy to teach us that Krishna is the doer behind all the activities. We only have desire. And the result of the duty is also dependent upon Krishna's mercy for a devotee. So we depend on Krishna. Krishna, please help me to serve you in this way. And then we see things will be good. And the moment we think that, if we think in our heart, which may come, pride may come, and we feel like, Krishna, please help me to do this service for you. But in the heart, we feel that actually I know exactly what to do. And we will see, although we do the same thing, the result will be very much different. Or it will appear to be different to different people. It's just Krishna is inconceivable. And Krishna is very dynamic. So we depend on Krishna before the activity. Did I answer the question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
That activity can be anything. It can be cooking, it can be serving, it can be anything. And just contemplate more on this.
So if I plan to complete something like today or something, so if I offer prayers, so Krishna, please help me to complete this today and do that should be okay, right?
That is very nice. And the moment you think I will be able to do it, I know, you will see somehow Krishna will make such arrangement that you will not be able to do that.
Yes.
So Krishna is the doer. And when with full heart we depend on Krishna, Krishna will do it. And Krishna is reciprocating the other way also, just to bring his presence in our life. Hey, I am listening and I am doing. Just like with Arjuna, this is our daily pastime also.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, but it is also said that we should not be bewildered by the results, right? Like either success or failure. But okay, if something good happens, also like we cannot become pride. Like we can understand and okay, we can leave it as it is. But if we are going through some tough situation, like even though we have to treat them alike, but still the lamentation or the worries come into the mind.
Yeah, that lamentation worry is also part of I
am the doer.
Yeah, and attachment to results.
Okay.
And Krishna wants, and when Krishna sees that, okay, there's the attachment, then Krishna will fulfill those attachments sometime, because he doesn't want us to be thoroughly depressed. And once in a while, Krishna will not give the desired result, and Krishna will humble us. And slowly and gradually, Krishna will take that attachment away from us, because Krishna loves us, Krishna wants us. And whatever keeps us in this world, Krishna is going to interfere, even if it is painful, like operation.
Sure, Prabhuji. And one more question, Prabhuji, with respect to the pastime you mentioned about the Brahmana, like doing Manasik Seva on Sri Lakshmi Narayan. Did a similar pastime happened in Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime as well, Prabhuji? Like a devotee getting his finger burnt, touching the sweet food.
There are many stories actually. We just touched whatever were there in act of devotion. there is story of Jiva Goswami. He was in Vrindavan in his consciousness and he was playing colors. He saw that the Lord is playing color, Holi is happening, the Lord and all the Vrajavasis. And when he came down and he saw he had colors on his form. And there is Raghunath Das Goswami. He cooked Srimati Radharani in the consciousness. She offered him sweet rice to eat. And Raghunath Das Goswami will drink only little bit of buttermilk. So because she asked him to eat, he ate a lot of it just to please Srimati Radharani. And then he became very sick. So the Veds were called, like the physician, Ayurvedic physician, we call them Veds. And they said he has, this is because of the overconsumption of milk and rice that he's going through this difficulty in the stomach. So everybody was surprised that Goswamiji does not take more than a leaf cup of buttermilk every day. How can he have sweet milk and sugar and rice in such a huge amount? So nobody believed the Veds, but the Veds said this is what the symptoms say. Later on, he revealed to Jiva Goswami that actually Srimati Radharani gave me sweet rice and I ate that. And there Narottam Das Thakur finger was burned. Similar story like the Brahmana. So there are many pastimes of Mahaprabhu's associates in meditation, how the Lord reciprocates. Is it all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, dear Prabhujis and Matajis, if I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. We'll end
Hare
here.
Krishna, Prabhuji. One last question.
Okay,
Sorry.
Mate, go ahead.
When we preach something and when we prepare for preaching, and while preaching, if we forget some verse or something, even if we start with prayers like praying intensely Krishna, that please Krishna help me to come right words at right time from our mouth, but still we tend to forget sometimes some words or something. So how it correlates to the Krishna helps when we desire more intensely, or what we should do in that case?
Well, we offer our prayers in the beginning, but sometimes what happens when we are speaking, we feel like, yeah, now I'm preaching very nicely. Now everyone is very happy to hear. Now I think they will take it up Krishna consciousness. Or I think my words are very attractive. Or I think I can logically, I'm able to convince them. So many thoughts may come. And wherever there is, like everything is dependent upon, the two factors are there. One is there is subtle pride that just comes. It's just so natural for it to come. And it just comes and then immediately we lose the track of what we are speaking. What is that? So this is one aspect. Even if we pray in the beginning, because of the prayer in the beginning, Krishna is able to make that impact. And one lecture I was my Guru Maharaj, his Holiness Sadhana Swami Maharaj, he was giving a talk in Gita Nagari. And so what happened, there was a Bhagavatam class. And Bhagavatam class was given by Shisha Prabhu. And he was speaking on this verse, Naham Vipro Nacha Narapati Napi Vaishna Shudra, which says, I'm not a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Griha, Savana, Prasanyas. I am servant of the master of the gopis. So everybody was reciting, like Bhagavatam, the speaker recites and everybody repeats, and then the audience, they recite and everybody follows. So Maharaj was sitting in that class, in the Bhagavatam class. It was in the morning. And then Maharaj wanted to support Shisha Prabhu. So he said, Naham Vipro Nacha. And then the words were not coming in Maharaj's mouth. So Maharaj was like, Maharaj didn't say anything. Then Maharaj looked at the verse. Maharaj just spoke the verse because he knew the verse. Then when this happened, then Maharaj looked at the verse and then he recited and everything was normal. And then evening class, it was retreat by Guru Maharaj only. So evening class, Guru Maharaj was giving. And Guru Maharaj said, Krishna knows how to humble everybody. I have recited this verse 100 times, but Krishna took away my remembrance. Now this Guru Maharaj humility, that we don't see anything like Guru Maharaj just, he was thinking in this way, Krishna was humbling me for whatever reason. So in a humble mood, we do see that how Krishna is humbling us. But in any case, if we don't able to understand the reason, then we just think that, okay, remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge comes from Krishna. Somehow or other, Krishna does not want me to quote this verse, and that's all right. And then we take it as Krishna's inconceivable will. Is it all right?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. So if you all allow, then we will end here. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Dhanwad
Thank you,
pranam.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Dhanwad pranam.
Dhanwad.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanwad pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Dhanwad pranam. Radha Bhavani.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.